So, in the past 2 lessons, we've talked a bit about positioning and storytelling. Now, we're going to talk about the structure of the trailer and exactly how to start putting all these pieces together efficiently, staying true to the concept and tone we've decided on. Let's start by taking a quick look at some of the basic structures you'll be working with, depending on the type and length of the piece that you're cutting. Most full-length 2-minute and 30-second trailers will follow a basic 3-act structure. Act 1 sets up the characters in the world. Act 2 presents the conflict and the plot complications. And Act 3 escalates everything and allows us to jump around the movie with big music and montages. Teaser trailers will typically only have 1 or 2 acts. In a teaser, you're trying to set the mood and the tone, give the central theme of the movie, and leave the viewer with one memorable moment. Finally, a shorter promo or 30-second spot will still actually have 2 or 3 acts. They're just very, very condensed. More on that later. Alright, now that we have a basic idea of the layout in each type of trailer or promo, let's take a more detailed look at exactly how the information, music, and moments can be arranged. When paper cutting and structuring out your own trailer, you're going to lean very heavily on your dialogue and visual breakdowns. If you haven't already, you'll want to read back through your entire dialogue breakdown and mark, color, or favorite all of the lines that explain the story, display powerful emotion, and add humor. Also, always be on the lookout for long, descriptive speeches by a character, as they can serve as wonderful grids around which to cut a significant portion of the piece. Here's a great one from X-Men Apocalypse.
Forget everything you think you know. None of that matters. You're not students anymore.
I'll take everything from them.
You're X-Men.
You'll also want to refresh your memory as to the coolest, funniest, and most emotional visual moments in your film by scanning back through your visual breakdown. And something else to remember as you're looking through your dialogue and visuals. Don't be afraid to decontextualize the lines and the moments. That means, just because a character says, "This is going to be insane," in the middle of the film, in reference to a concert he's going to with friends, you can use that line at the beginning of your trailer to kick things off. In a trailer, every moment of a film is at your disposal and can freely be taken out of its original context in order to best serve the theme and the story. Okay, so once you've got a list of favorite lines and a good idea of your most important moments, you're ready to start paper cutting the structure of your trailer. This process is pretty straightforward. I like to open up a Word or a text document and type my favorite lines, along with the character that said them, into the document. Then I'll just start rearranging them, combining them, and deleting them until I've come up with a good way to tell the story, explain the conflict, and to get to all the best moments in the film. At the same time, you're going to want to be thinking about these key moments in the film and where they might occur throughout the piece. Make a note of their potential placement in between the various dialogue lines. As you are arranging all the lines and key moments into a cohesive story, keep in mind the 3-act structure. You might actually want to make some sort of note on your paper cut where each act begins and ends. This will help keep you on track with delivering the right information at the right time of the trailer. Remember, Act 1 is character and world introduction. Act 2 is conflict and story development, and Act 3 is the wild ride, containing much less in the way of dialogue and focused more on visuals and music. The demarcation of acts in your paper cut will also serve as good indicators as to where you'll likely need to change your music into something more appropriate for the next phase of your trailer. Once you've got a paper cut in your hands, you've got a roadmap to the structure of your trailer, and the editing process will be a lot less stressful and more efficient. When you're arranging your trailer structure, here are a couple tips to help you out. It's a good idea to start by figuring out your first moment in the trailer and your last moment in the trailer. That is, how are you going to open it and how are you going to close it? As we mentioned in the last lesson about story, your opening moment should introduce your characters and begin to set up your world in an interesting and engaging way. For your end moment, you'll want to end your trailer on the best moment your film has to offer. The last 30 seconds or so should be the most memorable part of your trailer. Don't lose sight of that, because it's likely the only moment that people will specifically remember. In a comedy, that means your funniest joke. With action, it means the biggest spectacle. And with horror, it's the biggest scare. And with drama, it's the most emotionally charged moment or line. Now, a couple quick notes here about the final moment of your trailer. First, you can use your biggest and best moment right before the main title, or you can use a slightly smaller moment right before the main title and save the biggest and best for the button. If you remember, the button is the part of the trailer that happens at the very end right after the main title, but before the billing cards. Check out this example of a button from Trailer 2 of Captain America: Civil War.
Alright, I've run out of patience. On to roost!
Hey everyone.
Once you've got your introduction and your big final moment figured out, you'll plan out the middle of the trailer last. Figure out what needs to happen with the story and moments in the rest of the piece to tie the open and close together. One last tip as you're paper cutting your trailer. If you find that you're unable to effectively tell the story, or it's just taking up too much time in your piece, remember that you can add voiceover, graphic cards, or even newly recorded character lines from sound-alikes, or the actual characters from the film if you can get a hold of them. This is the stage where you'll want to be solving those problems. Later on, once you start cutting all these lines and moments onto your timeline and marrying them with visuals, you might find that some areas need a bit more explanation and others can do with a bit less. That's okay, you can adjust things more at that point. So in this lesson, we learned all about trailer structure. We talked about the basic formats of a trailer versus a teaser versus a TV spot. We deconstructed the anatomy of a trailer, and we looked at how all the pieces fit together and flowed from one to the next. And we talked about how to paper cut your own trailer structure. Coming up in the next lesson, we're going to dive into a number of essential trailer editing techniques, beginning with the most important, choosing your music. All right, I'll see you in a bit.